welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I am going to be explaining what is a switch statement in JavaScript and how you can use it. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. That really helps my channel in case you want to support it. And if you want to get notified every time that I upload a new video, you can hit the ring bell. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, everybody, so to get started in today's episode, the first thing that I need you to do is go to MDN. On MDN, on the search box, I want you to go ahead and just type in the word switch, just like this, and then hit enter. And it should be the first article, just so you know. So this should be fine. And then I also have opened the same website that we have been using so far with the same code that we have been using as well. So what I am going to do for this episode is delete all the JavaScript code I have input into it. And I am also going to delete the button that we added and the paragraph that we added in here. Okay, so let me just delete those two things. Let's save this out. And also let's save the JavaScript. And let's hit refresh. There we go. Okay, so let's just clear that out in order for you to learn today how to use switch statements. Okay, so first and foremost, let's clear out what a switch statement is, and then I'll show you how to use it by coding a block of code here and doing something in our website. So let's go back to MDN and let's read a little bit on what a switch statement is, and then I'll explain in my own words what it is. Okay, so it says here that the switch statements evaluates an expression, matching the expression values against a series of cases or clauses, right? And it executes statements after the first case clause with a matching value until a break statement is encountered. Pay close attention to this case and then break, right? And then the default clause of a switch statement will be jumped to if no case matches the expression's value. So in simple terms, a switch statement is a programming construct, we could say, right? And it's going to allow you to evaluate an expression, and it's going to allow you to perform different actions based on its value, okay? So it's going to work by comparing the value of an expression to a series of conditions, which are called cases here. And then if the value of the expression, in this case, matches one of the conditions that we typed in, then the code associated with that condition is going to be executed. And then if none of the conditions will match, then an optional default code or a block of code that we are going to type in here will be executed. So pretty much is kind of like looking for, let's say that we want to create something where we have several options for the users, right, to select. And then we want something to happen depending if they select option 1, if they select option 2, if they select option 3. So we want the code to do something different depending on the options they take, right? It's like having a road and then having one way, another way, and then another way. And then if you select, let's say, the first path, then you will get to a lake, right? Then if you select the second path, you're going to reach a mountain. Then if you select the third path, then you're going to reach, I don't know, some sunny place, right? So it's the same thing in switch statements. We give the user different options, and depending on what options they pick, we're going to give them a certain thing that they will be able to do, right? Now, if they do not select any of the options that we put in here, let's say that we build those 3 paths where they can choose, right? And they don't select any of them and they decide to create their own path and just go away from it. Then if that's the case, we are going to have some sort of default condition where it's going to tell them, hey, you know what, you selected something that, doesn't exist, or just please select something that we, the options that we gave you, one of the options we gave you, something like that. So I hope that makes sense. But you will understand it a little bit better right now when we code our website in order to show you how the switch statement works. So let's go back into our code, and I am going to show you right now how it works. Okay, everybody, so let's start coding this so that you know exactly how a switch statement will work. And the first thing I'm going to do is just add a paragraph into our code. Let me just keep everything simple. So let's just add a paragraph. And now to this paragraph, I want to give this an ID. And the idea of this paragraph is going to be just my paragraph. Let's just keep it simple. Okay, so my paragraph. Okay, perfect. And then this paragraph is going to say something simple like hello world, something like that. Okay, and then below that paragraph, I want to also add a button. So let's just do that. And the button is also going to have an ID, by the way. The ID of this button is going to be color button because we're going to change colors whenever we click this button. And of course, the button is going to have a label of change color. Let's just call this change color. Okay, so just like that. Those are the two things we're going to add into our HTML file. So let's hit save, going back to our code, refresh. Okay, perfect. So we have the paragraph and we have the button that we created. Right now, of course, it's not working because we haven't coded yet the switch statement, but it'll work in just a moment. So what I want to do is create a switch statement so that whenever we click on this button, it'll change this color, but we're going to receive kind of like a pop-up window asking us what we want to do. And then we're going to select one option of the ones given. And then we're going to change the color of this text depending upon that. So let me just show you what I'm talking about here. Let's go to our script and let's start by, first of all, building a variable. Let's build a variable called paragraph. Okay, so this variable called paragraph is going to select, and let's use the typical document dot get element by the ID of, and in parentheses, we're going to select my paragraph, which is the one that we have here. But let me just select it from here just to make sure I don't have any errors while I type it. Okay. So my paragraph, there you go. And then we're going to create another variable and we're going to call this variable button. And this button, we're also going to select it. So document dot get element by the ID of, I think we call this one color button. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we call it color button. So I am going to select also this portion, copy this and paste it in the quotes. Close that out as well. And I am going to save this just to make sure everything is moving good. And then another thing I am going to do is add an event listener to this button because we want it to work on click, right? Whenever we click on it. So for this, we're going to say button dot add event listener, right? And then we're going to say to this that whenever we click on this button, right, we are going to, of course, execute a function. Now, we haven't created a function yet, but I'll call this function change color. Okay, just like that, change color. And then let me just create the function for you so that you can see what we're going to do with this function. And just so you know, right, we're going to use a switch statement inside of this function so that you know how it works. So there we go. Let's call this function, let's create the function called change color. And of course, let's just use parentheses. I'm not going to give any parameters there. I am just simply going to code the function right now. So first thing we want to do inside of this function, right? We are going to create another variable. And this variable is going to be called color choice. Let's just call it color choice. And then this is going to be equal to prompt. And we use this prompt method in our previous episode. So if you don't know what this is, you can go ahead and check that out. Okay. But we're going to use a prompt. And then this prompt is going to say, choose a color. And then the colors that we are going to give is going to be, let's do red, green, or blue. Or blue. Okay, something like that. And then I am going to give columns. This is going to be the prompt that when they have the pop-up window, then it's going to tell them, hey, choose a color, red, green, or blue in parentheses. That's what we're going to give them. Okay, and then let's close this. Now let's create our switch statement. So first, to create this, we have to follow a syntax. Now, if we go here back to MDN, you see how the syntax works. It has the word switch, case, and then a break every time. So this is the syntax. You have your switch, then in parentheses an expression, then whatever that you type in here will be case 1, right? Like this is your first path. Case 2, this is your second path. Case whatever 3, then this is your third path, and then the default case, which is whenever they don't select one of the cases that you have given on top, right? So this is how the syntax of this statement, of the switch statement works, right? So let's just go back to our code, and we're going to do something like that. So let's just do switch, and then in the parentheses, we are going to say color choice, which is the variable that we just created there on top. So color choice, right? And then this color choice, we're going to open brackets because it has its own block of code, a switch statement, right? And then the first case we're going to create here, let's just create case number 1. And then this case is going to be red. Okay, this is going to be the case for red. If they select red, then we are going to paragraph dot style dot color. We're going to do something very simple. We're going to change the color of the paragraph to red. Okay, just as simple as that. Now we use the word break to give it a break to that case. So the first case is call red. Now, what this is going to do is that if they select the color red, then it's going to give them a color of red to this text right here. So let's say that I click change color. I get the pop-up. It asks me what I want to do with it, right? I click change it to color red. Then this text right here is going to be red. It's not going to be black anymore. Okay? So that's what we're saying in our first case. Now, we have a second case. So let's build a case for green. Okay, so for the color green, what we want to do is the same we did with red. So let's do paragraph dot style color equal to green. Okay, and then also let's add a break in there. Remember to always add a break because the break is telling the code something like, hey, this is a break, so this is where the case ends, and here comes another one, and here comes another one, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's type in another case, and the last case is going to be blue. Okay, whoops, let me just make sure I use quotes for this. So this is going to be blue. This case is going to be blue. And you know something I just realized that I am doing? Sorry about that. I am putting semicolons and it should be only columns here. I'm going to get an error if I execute this like that. So, well, here is fine. It's semicolons. But just after the word red, it should be columns. And then after the word green, it should be also columns. And then in here, blue, obviously, columns as well. Okay. And then, of course, when you finish the word red for the style, then you use semicolons. Okay, semicolons there. And also for the break, you use semicolons, closing it. Okay, so, this case is going to be in blue. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say paragraph dot style dot color. This is going to equal to, obviously, blue, right? And then after this last case, we're going to also add a break, okay? And then we're going to create the default for this, if in case they don't select any of those options. Then the default for this is going to be an alert for them. And this alert is going to say something like, let's just say, invalid color choice. Please choose red, green, or blue. Green or blue. And that's it. Okay. And then we close this out. And of course, we already closed the brackets and we closed the main bracket for the function. So this is a full function. This is the block of code that we just created. You have the function called change color. Then you created a variable which is going to prompt them to choose a color, right? Now when the prompt appears, they will have a couple of options. They can pick red and it's going to switch the color of the paragraph to red. They can choose green and it'll switch it to green. They can choose blue, it'll switch it to blue. And if they don't pick any of those, then it's going to default alert them. Invalid color choice. Please select, red, green, or blue in order for this to work. Okay, so let me just go ahead and hit save and all this. Going back to our code, let's hit to our page. Let's hit refresh here as well, and let's see how this works. So as soon as I click change color now, boom, here I get the prompt first, right? So the prompt is telling me choose a color, red, green, or blue. So in here, I can pick red, and then I hit OK. And then boom, this chunk of text is now changed to red. If I change color again, I hit green. I hit OK. And boom, now I have green. Change color again. I don't want green, I want blue. Okay, it gives me blue. So it's perfectly working, right? That's how powerful a switch statement is. And you cannot even, it doesn't limit itself to just change colors. I'm just giving you this example so that you see something that we have seen in our previous episodes. But honestly, you can even use like your keyboard and type in keys, and depending if they choose the key up, the key down, the key left, the key right, if they, press A, T, B, C, whatever the case might be, it will allow the code to do something. This is very, very important for you to understand, because next week I am going to be building a project for you guys. We are going to be building a project in which you are going to be using a switch statement. Okay, so just have that in mind. Now, what will happen if I click change color in here and I don't pick any of the options I have here on top? Very simple. What it will happen is that it's going to give me the default alert that I coded. So let's say that I pick here black and I hit OK. It says, hey, invalid color choice. Please choose red, green, or blue. Those are the only paths that we coded. Okay, so just pick one of them. Anything else that we type in that box is going to prompt us to this. We have to either pick red, green, or blue. Simple as that. Okay, so that's it, everybody. That's how a switch statement works. Go ahead and make sure to read. Again, make sure to read MDN. Take a look and see what are the rules, what parameters can you use, what other things you can do with switch statements, because these, as I said, they're very powerful and we will use them a lot when we're coding. Okay, so that was it for this episode. If you have questions, remember to leave them in the comment section below and I will reply as soon as I can. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. That really, really helps my channel in case you want to support it. And if you want to get notified every time that I upload a new video, you can hit the ring bell. And remember that you can always ask Lixi. Bye, everyone, and see you again in the next episode.